This week we move workshop and I find out how heavy the vice is. I can't find a pen that works. And I bang my head a lot.
Ow.
As we've been growing, I had the chance to move units to something that was a little bit bigger with a little bit more space. Now, I had a lot of help when I was setting up the previous unit, and I was left to my own devices on this one. So, with a severe lack of carpentry skills, or joinery skills, I'm not quite sure which category these fall into, I thought I could take it on myself. But as you'll see, probably should have enlisted some help. I also carry it out in the most random of orders. If this video feels a little bit disjointed and all over the place, then that's why. So when I was moving to this unit, I only had a limited amount of time, so I had to try and get everything in as quickly as possible. That's why we just dumped everything on the bench. So I decided to move everything off the bench to make a clear working space, but then I realised I had all the hand tools still left on the bench, so I had to re-put up the plywood that I had in the old unit to house all of the tools. Why I didn't do this directly into the wood and the wall behind it, I don't know. It probably would have been easier, and it probably would have looked nicer as well. I also apologise if you are from the carpentry trade or the joinery trade or just a simple DIY handyman, because my skills with a drill and screws and all that sort of stuff is it leaves a lot to be desired. So now, I thought this vice would be quite heavy, but I didn't realise how heavy it actually was. It weighs an absolute ton. And here I'm just having a look to see how the vice will work before I secure it to the bench in all the different positions that the bat lies in. Just to make sure I've got enough room both sides, enough room to work, and enough room for the vac and things to be plugged in. So I don't really know when to drill pilot holes, when not to drill pilot holes, use certain screw heads or whatever they're called, the attachments on the drills, all that sort of stuff. Frankly, I've got no idea. Just potluck whether I get it right or not. But I did manage to secure the vice eventually. But as you'll see with the buffing wheel, that didn't go so well. I'm not sure on the exact name for this thing that holds the bat up at the other end, but they are super useful. That lathe there isn't secure either. That's just all that I've managed to put together. So I need to drag in a few wiser heads to come and help me put that lathe together, because I, frankly, have not got a clue. You can't see that either. After I looked for the pencil for about half an hour and used 2 pens and said a lot of expletives, I ended up finding it. Also, in the meantime, we've managed to secure a dust vac. However, the dust vac doesn't actually attach to the sander, so I've had to do a bit of a bodge job on that. After we've done most of the important stuff and got the bench ready, etc., there's a few bits around the workshop that need a bit of a tidying up. Oh. And after smashing my head on that light there, we come and clean this off. I'm not quite sure what this is actually. I put a mask on just to be on the safe side, but to be honest, I have no idea what asbestos looks like. So I assume it's probably not asbestos, but if it is, it's curtains for me then. One of the things that lacked in the previous workshop was a nice clean space to put all the wires and all the cables that come from the machinery that I use, such as the heat gun, such as the sander, etc. They were kind of just strewn all over the workbench, which kind of got in the way at points. So in this workshop, I wanted to have an extension lead that was tucked out of the way underneath the workbench. Now, I thought this would be a pretty simple job, but turned out not too simple. But before I did that, I wanted to get the buffing wheel in place. Now, I'm pretty sure when I put this in at the last unit, I did drill some pilot holes, but I mustn't have drilled them that deep because the first pilot holes I did here just went straight through, so I had to redo them again. And the screws just wouldn't, I don't even know the technical term for it, they wouldn't screw. These pilot holes here were way too deep, so I had to re-drill the pilot holes again. And that first screw that we've put in there is not secure at all, but the other screws helped out a bit. So then I turned my attention to putting that extension lead underneath the workbench. Ow! The first attempt didn't go very well at all. I think I used screws that were too big, so they wouldn't actually slot over those 2 little holes on the back of the extension lead. Yeah. So then I came back and put some different screws in and they seem to work. Now it's really messy under there and I don't mind it being messy, but I don't want to have to see it. So I'm going to have to put some plywood over there just so I don't have to look at it. So I suppose that was only really a half workshop build. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to be done. Potentially putting up a bit of plywood over those insulated walls over there on the ceiling too. It's certainly going to be a work in progress, but as we're halfway through the cricket season, it's sort of our busiest time. We haven't got time to do all those sorts of things at the moment, so they're going to have to be an off-season thing. But it's a good little space, and it's a good little space for us to grow. Exciting times lie ahead, I suppose. Hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into what machines we use and how we set them up, even though I've not done it particularly well. So though I don't know much about carpentry and joinery or whatever trade that is that I've just demolished, if you do want to get your back repaired, please get in touch by the website. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.